Hello, Ophelia Staton. How are you?
I am great. How about you?
I am so good. For those of you who are just joining, I want to let you know that this is one of my artist interview series, and I have saved the best for last. Two other people I've interviewed are watching this live, so don't take it personally. But this is Ophelia Staton, and I am so excited to spend my Sunday afternoon
Oh.
chatting with her. So, as I always do with my artist interviews, I actually prefer to let the artist introduce themselves. They usually know more about themselves than I do. So we're going to have Ophelia start, and I'm probably going to interrupt with some of the love in the comments that are going on in the background. Take it away, Ophelia. Who are you?
Hello, hello, and thank you all so much for being here. I am Ophelia Staton. I'm an artist and an educator here in North Carolina. By day, I am a high school visual arts teacher finally, and I am a painter, an abstract painter, a chief goofer offer of things. I just love playing around with all the art type things. I am an art supply junkie of sorts. And so learning about all the different things and trying all of the things just make me happy. And so I just appreciate being here. Welcome to my studio and thank you guys all for listening in.
Well, I love the view behind you, as I've mentioned to you before, and that
Yay.
definitely is a view of somebody who likes stuff and playing around with stuff. So I think
Yes.
you're one of all of us for sure.
Mhm. Yes, it is a working studio. I love seeing things on Pinterest where everything's like in such a neat little container. And I look at those and I'm like, how am I supposed to fit my 80,000 pencils in that cup? It's never gonna be like Pinterest board worthy here. It's a working studio of things.
Well, I love that because that's just a real, and I'm sure you already know, but that little segment on Pinterest that's this big of that gorgeously curated vignette, when you turn the camera around and pan, it looks a lot
That's
differently.
when you see the real. So this is the real, and
Exactly.
it is my happy place, and I would have it no other way.
There's something that I mean, there's so many things I love about you, but I'm just gonna just put this out there that there is this energy, positivity, and just all things good that seems to emanate not from your cup of coffee but from you, directly from you. It's every time I've connected with you, and I see it even in your photos, there is just this glow about you. And before I hand it back to you, just a few of the comments that are coming on this Facebook Live. um let's see. Dolita says, hi, Ophelia. Janine's welcome, Ophelia. Tracy's hi, says hi. Debbie says, you are fabulous.
Oh.
Jenny welcomes you. Yvonne says, this is an inside thing, I think. Jerry's jumbo black pencil. Yay. Thank you, Ophelia. Um,
My most used pencil ever,
oh,
ever.
good to know. We need to circle back to that. And then
Absolutely.
Wendy says, aw, what a beautiful soul and energy. 3 purple hearts.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. I just find that when you find the thing that lights your soul up, it shows with other people. Do you know what I mean? I don't even know if that makes sense, but
Total.
doing this is just my calling and my soul's work, I guess. And I love inspiring other people to find what it is that lights their soul up. And so it just kind of shows, I guess, when I'm in my happy place, it all radiates.
I love that. And I
Yeah,
think that makes the world a better place. And if this were only true with more people, maybe some of the problems would be solved.
absolutely.
One of the things that I absolutely love is that I have to imagine that you bring that same sort of positivity and energy to your students. I know you
Mhm.
teach art as well, adults in the art community, but that you're a real teacher in the school system.
Yes.
And I sort of imagine you incredible, please tell me if I'm right or wrong, first of all, just very supportive and encouraging and loving. But I also imagine that you engender a lot of respect from students. And I think they know that they need to listen to you. And I
That
say
is
that in the best
correct.
way possible.
Yes, that is so correct in that. And I've been teaching in a public school setting for youth for 21 years. And I learned a long time ago from my very first principal, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And for
Oh
my
my God.
student, I know, right? I know. And it was like, what? And for my students, it's so, so true. When they know that you care for them as a human, they are willing to move mountains for
Mm.
you. And it's, even the ones that are like, I can't, ma'am, I can't do this. I'm sorry, I can't. They eventually, you look over and it's like they're working like champs. And that's just what I bring. I make it an environment where they can be themselves to then do the things that I want to teach them to do. But it just requires that I show up giving them the space to be themselves. No judgment, no anything. It's just me saying, you can be you here in this space. And they learn to trust that. And then boom, it's like, whew, it's my favorite part.
I mean, yeah, you must feel so proud, energized, so many feelings when you
Mhm,
see what happens as that positivity rolls about.
mhm.
But no, you are like the gift that keeps on giving. For sure, because seriously, because the what you're putting into these students, and I mean, I mean, more than many, because you're surrounded by kids all the time. It's not easy being a kid in this world we live in this time. So for you to be able to put that out there, and hopefully some of those kids to continue to put it out themselves, I seriously, it's a gift that keeps on giving.
Mhm.
You had said when you first introduced yourself that you teach the visual arts, and you kind of, I think the word you said was like finally.
Yes,
Can you just talk a little bit about that, because there's so many school systems in the U.S. that have
absolutely.
erased that
Absolutely.
as an option?
Yes. I started this, if we'll back up for a second, and you guys are going to find that everything with me starts with a bit of a backstory. So just settle in for a moment. But my, I started my career from college as in juvenile probation. And so my degree is criminal justice. And when I lived in Greenville, I worked as juvenile probation. And then when we moved to Granville County here in North Carolina, um, instead of transferring, I decided to step away from juvenile probation and start my family. And so that then led to a career change, and I started teaching, and I taught middle school history. And if you might imagine, me teaching history every single day, it was lovely. History is not interesting to everyone, um, but like I almost felt I was leading and living a double life where I had this passion for art. I'm not trained as an artist, but I just love creating. And so Monday through Friday from 8 o'clock to 4, I was a middle school history teacher, but there was this itch to be living in the art world. And I knew that there was art making and creating in me. And so um, about 6 years ago, I literally ripped off the Band-Aid, no more hiding in the shadows. And Ophelia, you know what? Let's go ahead and try this art teaching as a profession. And I went back and got my certification in visual arts, K through 12 visual arts, which was, when I say finally, it was one of those where just a fear, knowing that I'm not trained as an artist, knowing that I'm not trained as an art educator, meant that everything would be stacked up against me.
Mm.
But it's that passion that just kind of drives. And it's like, you know what, there's no more excuses, no more things in the way. Let's just do this. And I did it. And I passed the certifications. And now I'm a high school visual arts teacher.
That is so exciting. And I just love stories where people take the risk and go after what they love, what they want,
Mhm,
what they don't have.
mhm.
And we, not everybody achieves, but every time you hear somebody who is successful, to me, it's a little bit of inspiration for the people who might want to do that.
Absolutely.
So I love that you're getting some feedback online with the comments. Bravo, Lois says. Um, um, yeah, I just love hearing that,
Yeah.
the sort of stories with a happy ending.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
and do you miss history?
I literally, when I did it and it all settled in and I got the job as a high school art teacher, then it was like, why didn't I do this 10 years ago? This is the greatest job ever. Like this, man, I literally get to be with children because I love working with little high school humans. But I get to play with art supplies every day. I get to inspire other people to break out of their shells and to try different things. And it's wonderful. I literally keep thinking back and I why didn't I do it 10 years ago when that little spark set in? But then it was definitely all the, oh no, I can't do that. Oh gosh, I'm not good enough for that. Oh, never, And so then it was like, let's just do it.
We all carry that voice inside ourselves,
Mhm,
and for some people it's stronger than others, and for some people it's stronger at certain times.
mhm.
And I just in my own experience have found that everything sort of needs to stack up in the right place for
Absolutely.
that kind of risk taking and movement to happen. And
Mhm.
sometimes the timing is later than you want. I often think that I would have loved to have started in my art career earlier as well. But as soon as I have those thoughts, I stop them, because I realize that in some ways where we all are in any one moment is based on everything that's come before.
Mhm.
And sometimes we're not ready. Sometimes the timing isn't right. Maybe had you tried earlier, it would not have worked out in the same way.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It's
but that
all
voice,
in the timing for sure.
yeah,
For
yeah.
sure.
But that voice, I'm sure for all the people listening, that voice is very familiar. A couple comments. Your backstory is fabulous. Thanks, darling. Ophelia's zest for life is incredible. She beams joy. Follow that inner intuition. So fabulous. I love risk takers and so happy you took the plunge into art and
Mm,
teaching to feed your soul. Go for your dreams. Wonderful story. There's lots of comments.
yes. Yes.
Janine has put on links to your Instagram account and your YouTube.
Okay.
While you were hiding in the waiting room, I let everybody know that they ought to follow those links, and I encourage people, to follow on YouTube, follow on Instagram, follow on on your the favorite platforms that you actually are going to use, so you
Mhm.
really can connect to Ophelia. And I also mentioned, for those who joined a little bit later, that we're going to have a giveaway, because Ophelia not only is amazing and incredible, but she's generous apparently too. So I'm going to give away a piece of her art soon, in about 5 or 10 minutes, so you guys don't have to wait too long. So if you're here, don't go away. We'll give you all the rules on the giveaway.
Let's do it. Let's do
Uh,
it.
Um, so I'm going to ask you in a minute to show some of your art, but
Okay.
one of the things that I mentioned before we started the interview was that you have in my mind, a very identifiable style.
Mm.
And I just think, especially now, where everybody is online and everybody posts their art, and there's so much work that's seen, it's not so easy for a style to be recognizable anymore. And I think it's incredible when an artist sort of finds that. So
Mm.
even before, maybe show one piece, and then could you tell me and us, like, how did that develop?
Absolutely. And it's going to come with a backstory. So let's share some art.
Okay.
Over here, this is a 4x4 painting, and it's just one of my tinies that I honestly love creating. And I'm trying to find one that will fit in our frame. So
Okay.
actually, let's do this right here. This guy is an 8x8, and this will go in a restock at the North Carolina Museum of Art store this week.
Wow.
So
Could you
I've
hold
got
it even a little closer? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's all your identifiable
yes,
marks and
yes.
style.
Okay, and so backstory, everybody settle in. Here we go. um, I started this whole art making back in the day of like rubber stamping, art journaling, card making, and it just kind of progressed. I still love creating in an art journal. That's like my favorite go-to reset, let's go. And I signed up for a class, and I will say, I find now a lot of my time was wasted wanting to be someone else. And
Mhm.
you know, you find a person on Instagram, you or wherever out there, you love their work, you're like, oh man, that's it. And you try to paint like them, and it's awkward and it just feels weird. And for so long, I tried to paint like all my favorite artists, and I could not get it. Like I would sign up for classes and watch them do stuff, and I'd buy all the stuff and try to do this thing, and it's like that's not even remotely close to what it was supposed to be. And so I signed up for an abstract painting class, and this instructor was, now I see she was genius in that we all came, and there, it was like an 8-week class. And, I got there, set up my space, and she would kind of, introduce herself, and the class began, and like, what's your goal? And somebody would say, hey, I would like to finish this series of paintings for a photo shoot or a gallery opening or whatever. And I'm sitting there brand new going, I just want to learn how to paint. And so the class started, and everybody set up, and, we all just started painting. The problem was I had no clue what I was doing. So I'm sitting in this room. There are people, and like they are painting up a storm, and I'm over in the corner. And because I'm an art supply collector, I had all the best material, like all the paints, all the brushes, all the everything. And I sat at my space and, trying my best to just look like I knew what I was doing. And so she would kind of wander by and speak to this person and go, oh, yeah, that looks great. Do this or whatever. And she would walk off, and my heart would start to tremble because she was coming to my space next. And she would kind of walk by, and she would, look at what I was working on, which was nothing. And she would go, add some graphite to that. And she would walk away. I was like, add graphite to what? Like, I've put brown mud all over things. And so then I would just pick up my graphite pencil, and for 2 hours, I'm scribbling and just making mud. And every week she'd come by and she'd go, add red to that. And she would walk away. And I was like, oh my God, like, what am I doing? And so I would look around me, and this person had now finished all of their roosters for their gallery opening. And this person had finished all their florals, and I'm over there on canvas number 9, and I'm just spreading color. I had no clue, no composition, no nothing. And we got to the end of the 6 weeks course, and she said, came by my space again, and I'm on canvas number 6, and I'm just throwing color on. And she goes, are you planning to come back? Wait, what? Like, I've not done anything. I've not learned anything. I've not done any artwork, nothing finished. What do you mean come back? And she said, you just keep painting. Trust me, your paints will speak to you. And I thought, well, my paints have been silent for 6 weeks, but okay, no, I'm not planning to come back, but whatevs. And off she walked away, right? And it dawned on me later as I came home and unpacked my stuff and looked over, and there were like literally 6 canvas from the 6 weeks with just like color and scribbles and more graphite or whatever. And the next day I thought, all right, I'll just try something else and I'll try some. What was genius is she made me figure it out. She didn't say, give me your brush, let me do this for you. What she did was made me sit there in that dirty, ugly, muddy mess that I had going on. And she made me paint. And that's how I learned my style, not your style, not her style, not anyone's style. My style was because I had to continue to paint. And that it took not that 6 weeks, but it took like a year after that 6 weeks where I continued to show up. I continued to paint every single day. And by golly, she was right. Like my paint started speaking to me. And I thought, oh my gosh, I wanted to sign up for that class and have that fast fix where in 6 weeks, I learned how to paint and what was my style and blah, blah, blah. But it took painting every single day with a lot that went in the garbage for a year or so to get my style and what felt good to me, where my paints started speaking to me. Long story over. So that's how I came to where I am now. It was showing up every day, sitting in the ugly, figuring it out, and putting the work in. That's it.
Well, first of all, and then I'll tell you what the other people watching have to say. I love that story. And I love that you summed it up the way you did, because the whole time you were telling it, what I was thinking was, this is such a bigger life lesson than just painting. And you summed it up so perfect. So many people have a hard time sitting with being uncomfortable. I love how you say it's sitting with the ugly, or in the ugly, even better. People struggle with that and then often give up.
Absolutely.
And as you say, you have to put in the work, you have to put in the time, you have to be consistent, which you were. And this was a genius way that this instructor started you off. And what a great team, because you took it. You know, you didn't just get so frustrated after 6 weeks that you gave up, which many people will do, understandably. So, but that lesson can be applied to anything and everything in life.
Absolutely.
I kind of wish, but don't worry about it, that you were watching Facebook, because the thousands of hearts that were floating.
Oh,
I just want to tell you how much you kind of touched people with that. Well, first of all, Angel says, I love backstories.
thank you, Angel.
Janine says, the story totally resonates with me. Tracy says, the story is so fabulous. Loie, OMG, that story resonates loudly. Cindy says, that's my story too. Isabella said, she let you discover your way. Beautiful.
Yep.
Love this so much. Love this story, sitting in the ugly. Yeah. Your backstories are amazing, because when people sum up something in a sentence, it doesn't always connect.
Right.
Whereas when you start giving a real life experience, that's what resonates with people. So again, I'm taken back to your class. I kind of want to go to school again and sit in your classroom for a year, because again, your students are so friggin' lucky.
Oh my gosh.
To have you.
It is. It's one thing for us to start, and when it gets to that ugly phase, we go, that won't work. And I promise you, if you just stick with it long enough, as I have to tell my students every single day, don't let the ugly phase stop you, because we all go through that one. Or I make it now a purpose to, I don't touch my students' artwork, because I was that student in a classroom or like an art class where a teacher would watch me struggle and they would say, here, give me your brush. And I stand back and go, have fun with that painting. And I have a painting that's done and it looks great, but it wasn't done by me. It was done by them. You have to figure out the way so that you have the roadmap and you now know how to get yourself unstuck.
So I want to know when maybe you already have, and I just don't know this. I want to know when you're publishing your book. with all your isms, because you're already giving me like, I mean, I'm not paying for this, but I've got my money's worth today. For
Great
sure.
idea. I'll make sure that I'll start that book of isms because there's not.
Yeah, I mean, these are gems. These are golden. And I know the community who's watching enough to know that everything you're saying is really like cutting to the core and touching some people. And I absolutely know, because we all have them. Well, my backstory, very, very brief. There are two professions that, and I think I even told you this once before, that I always feel are amongst the most important, not to
Mhm.
malign anybody else, and also in general amongst the most unappreciated. And that to me are teachers and nurses, because they provide so
Yeah.
much to so many, and they
Yes.
don't always get the perks that
Yes.
some other professions do. But we all know, every single person who is watching, I'm talking to each of you, we all know that we can go back in history and we can think about, maybe it's our third grade teacher, maybe it's our first grade teacher. You always remember the name. You remember the one that had the most positive impact. You also remember that one who didn't. And
Hmm.
Ophelia, I know you've been there, but I have heard this story so many times teaching, how I'm teaching, say, maybe it's a person who's now 65. Maybe they haven't touched art much at all because they remember back when they were in fourth grade and they made that sun blue. The teacher told them they can't do that. They have no talent. The sun has to be yellow,
And
and it
boom.
just shuts them down. And
Yep.
people carry that for life. You can
Looking
relate.
at her.
Okay.
You
All right.
are
So you
looking.
know.
You are looking at her. Okay, so third grade. I need you guys to go back to third grade with me. We had it was a career day, and I've been through high school, I've been through college, and the only thing I remember, the name I remember is third grade. It was career day, and we were all tasked with coming to this career day, and we were going to announce to the class what we wanted to be when, like, as a career. And I had fretted over this for like a solid week, and the day was here. We were in class. It was like in a circle. We've got the teacher, and she went down, and everybody told what they were going to be, what they wanted to be. Um, and I had three things in mind, and I was going to kind of play the circle, and that's what I would bail out there. And so it was either going to be a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, a fireman, or an artist. And so I waited, and she went around the circle, and somebody said, like, I want to be a doctor, and the crowd was like, yeah. And she was like, oh, that's so wonderful, the world needs you. And then somebody said, like, I want to be a fireman, and yeah. And I was like, okay, there's one. I can't say that one because then it's copying. And so around and around the circle went, and she's getting closer to me, and I'm like, well, nobody's thrown cheerleader out, and nobody said an artist, but somebody said like a teacher and a nurse and a blah blah blah. So it's almost my turn, and here I go, and she gets to my turn, and I say, I want to be an artist. And I waited for the like, yeah. And that's what the room did, silent. And she stared down her nose at me, and she said, well, that will lead you to nothing more than selling peanuts at a football game.
Wow.
And I thought, wow, well, there was the wrong answer. I should have gone with cheerleader, but okay. And I thought, oh, from that point forward, the word artist never came out of my mouth again. It was like that ugliness that was associated with. And it was Miss Potter's class. So I remember Miss Potter's name out of all of my teachers from kindergarten through college, because that stuck. And so from that point forward, like, all of my crayons went away, all of my desire to do things. I was like, yeah, we are not ever putting that word out there. And it stuck. And I thought, okay, the problem is that creativity, it's in there. And regardless of what a person says to us, it's still in there. It's not like she took my birthday away. Nope, she just took the word away. Fast forward, it's going to come up and you want to then be creative. And so I remember going, when I grew up, there was no like, after I graduated high school, I wonder what I'm going to do. Nope, it was graduate, go to college. There was no other option. And so when I was getting myself ready to go to college, I told my parents, like, now mind you, 0 words on art. And I said, I think I really want to go to art school. And my parents were both like, where did this come from? Like, you don't do any paintings or drawings or nothing. And I thought, okay, that's very fine. As a side note, my senior project for civics and economics, I sold peanuts at a football game.
I love it.
So that was the only way
Perfect.
you won. Yes, because it's still in you. It literally is still in you, and no one gets to decide who you can or cannot be. That's just how the world works. Like, you can take my birthday away, beautiful, but you can't say you get to do this and you get to do no, that's right here. And so, Miss Potter, guess who's a painter and an artist?
These words are resonating with so many. Just a few. So you had the feedback, lots of tear cry emojis, tear emojis. Been in the same spot, Ophelia, hugs. What a sad comment from a teacher. So happy you were able to realize your dream. How sad one person's opinion does damage.
Nice.
One other person said, my 7th grade art teacher told me I can't draw, shut me down for 60 years. I need to rewatch this because I usually keep a pen handy so I can write down in case I have to remember something. And you have given me so many nuggets. Like, I now have a new phrase for disappointment and depression and sadness, that my crayons went away. I mean, that sentence like cuts me to the core, because it's like somebody's taking away my colors. When you think of crayons, you think of the joy that a little kid has when they play without thinking about, like, is this going to sell or is this going to go on Instagram?
Absolutely.
So that phrase is going to now be part of my vocabulary.
Absolutely. And
I am really happy that your crayons came back.
Yes. And my mission is to make sure no other student ever hears those words. And we've got to erase it. That's my job, is to erase all that chatter back there, or the things that might have been said to whomever. Sure. It's like, what, you can't draw. Wait, what? Like, who says that? Yes, exactly. You can. Yeah.
Well, I imagine too that it's also sort of restorative and reparative for you too, as you give this to everybody. That probably helps you deal with what you dealt with as well. Lots of comments, just almost too many to read. We should have called it a Miss Potter moment. We should have given a tissue warning. When I was in elementary school and encouraged by several teachers, but then I hit middle school and my art teacher made me feel like I couldn't do anything and I shut down for years. It's just so sad. And Maria sums it up. You are a blessing, Ophelia.
Thank you. And the thing is, somebody out there, all of us may not be able to do it that way, but we do it in our way. That's what this world needs. It's not like cookie cutter. This world needs all of us to be who we are and do what we do. It's like having those teachers that, I've taken art classes since then, and it's like, well, you don't paint in oil, so you can't be an artist. No. You can't be an oil painter if you don't paint oil, but you can be
everything else.
Right.
One of the favorite stamps I designed, I venture to guess that no one would ever guess this is one of my favorites. It's the most simple stamp. It's 3 words and it's just all the colors. And when I chose that stamp, there was so much meaning. I mean, there are so many layers of meaning behind that. But it's really to say that everybody is welcome, no matter what color you are, no matter what color you use, no matter no matter anything. And so that particular stamp has just a lot of meaning for me. And you know, I need my crayons. I can't let my crayons go away.
Yes.
Simple as that. Yeah.
We can't all be put in like a single file. Like some of us are like this, and it's just, but the world needs all of us to be that
Exactly.
authentic you. That's all.
Now, on that joyous note, we're going to move to a giveaway.
Yes.
We are, I mean, this is already amazing, but we're going to make it even more amazing.
Yes.
So let me just tell everybody how this is going to work. Everybody listen in, it's a giveaway. We're going to do it for only the people who are here live. So I apologize if you're watching on recording. And all you need to do starting this moment once is just put your name, and let's just make it interesting. Just put where you live or where you're from, whatever, like a location.
Mhm.
I mean, you could be from, you know, some fantasy land if you like. You just need to write something. Janine is going to kind of track, thank you, Janine, behind the scenes, going to track everybody. Ophelia is going to pick a number, and then we're going to count from first on, and whoever that number is going to win this piece of art.
Yes. And the piece of art is over there. So
Okay.
it's a mystery to us all. Yay. And all it needs is it's done, but we just need a coat of varnishing.
Okay.
Not tomorrow. Today is Sunday. Tomorrow is Monday. The next day is Tuesday. On my website, I will be releasing the set of 9. I have 9, and then the 1 to make it 10 will be given away. So 9 will be on my website, and these guys are 4 inches by 4 inches, 1.5 inches thick, and they sell for $35. Well, as of this will be the last release of these little guys, because in January they will move to a new price. And so this that I have here and the one for you guys are the last ones forever at this $35 price. So one will be given away. The rest will go live on Tuesday on my website.
Okay, so those who are interested in maybe making a purchase, Janine can pop in the link to the website. We're getting lots of people writing their names. We'll go back in a minute, but I had sort of 2 comments as you were sharing that. The first one is if you could just show that piece again, but just hold it even closer.
Oh, yes. I forget to hold it closer. So
yeah, because there's so much of the detail work. You know, you always have the marks and the squiggles, and sometimes you have a little bit of splatter and the little tiny bits of color in certain sections. So it really needs to be explored.
yeah,
The scratches.
yes.
I love it. And my other comment was $35, you have to raise your prices. So I am glad to hear you are.
I know
Seriously.
it just makes me so like these are just the like perfect little fillers for people that maybe just have a tiny space that they need artwork. Whereas, and I'll just kind of show you the difference. Do you see? So this one is, so I love, gosh, I love creating. We'll leave it at that one. I create on paper all the time. Like, oh, where is it? To do this guy, and it's just a 4x6 piece of paper. I practiced it on the paper.
Got it.
To create this guy.
Ah, nice.
You know what I mean? So that
yes.
If something goes terribly wrong, it's a piece of paper. And
right.
I can, as I tell my students, everything that we create becomes a lesson. So this can be glued into my sketchbook with notes as to what I want to change, or I can turn it into a greeting card and mail it off to a friend.
It's perfect. And I wanted to everybody hear that. Everything you create becomes a lesson. It's another gem. I'm telling you, you have to write a book.
You're right.
I am not kidding either. I am serious about that. Okay, so we're going to assume if anybody wants to put a name and hasn't yet, do it. We're going to move 1 minute from now. We'll do the draw. But what I'm going to prepare you, Ophelia, because as those of you who watch my videos know my interviews, they're never prepared. The only thing I tell people in advance is that I'd like you to introduce yourself. I'd like you to promote yourself, and I'd like you to show some of your work.
Mhm.
All the rest of the conversation is completely spontaneous. And so, not that this is going to surprise you, but now that you've sort of shifted to your work, I would really like to know a little bit about some of your favorite supplies.
Absolutely.
We're all supply freaks.
Yes.
So I know everybody will appreciate that.
Yes.
But I'm going to go back now, and this is where Janine comes in.
And I'm going to grab the supply. Hold one second.
Perfect. This is perfect timing. So Janine, if you're there, and I know you are, I think the first person who left a name was Retta. So I'm going to count. Sorry, guys, you're going to have to sort of sit with this. Maybe this is the time to go get a drink. Janine, can you count the number of people, and I'll count the number of people. We'll see if we get the same.
I'm back.
All right, Janine has 22. I have 23. Janine, let's count one more time. And there's more people, a lot more people watching. So people, if you want a giveaway, this is your last chance. Of course, we're going to get the final count, and then we'll get more people. Sorry about this. Let's see. Because I know we're taking away time. Maybe you could just show a couple pieces of art while I'm counting, so that people have something to watch.
Right, so these get a little bigger, so I'm going to kind of back up. But finish this guy. And what's kind of great, I think now we can all see it. I never show up with any sort of preconceived idea of what I'm going to do. You good?
No, keep going, keep going.
Oh, I never show up with any sort of idea of what I'm going to do. I literally just put a paint color out on my palette. And then that kind of feeds everything else. Or I might discover a new color, and that it's like, oh yeah, that's right. I remember I got that purple the other day. I want to start playing with that. And that kind of leads off to everything else. And when I paint, it's kind of, if you guys imagine the wild that you see here, every morning I'm up at about 3:30-ish, 4 a.m. And I, light candles, do my morning journaling, put some paint out, and then off we go. And by then I've had maybe 2 or 3 cups of coffee. And so it goes. And I put paint down, I get my brush dirty, I just throw it, not physically throw it, but I get to the canvas and I go. What I love about an abstract painting is there is no roadmap. You just get to do the thing and put the paint there. And if I were painting a portrait of someone, the roadmap is that face needs to look like that face and the nose has to go there. But with an abstract like such, there's no roadmap. It's just putting things down until it feels good. And as that teacher would have said, your paints just start to speak to you, and it just says like, yeah, we're good here. We're done. Step away now, kind of thing. And so I just paint because it feels good.
I love that.
Yeah.
You said again, you're going to get so tired of hearing me say this, but all these gems, it's so true. With different aspects of art, you have to take a different approach. I always talk about this whole concept of overthinking is the death of creativity, and never really having a plan when I start, because I work abstract too. And when I am thinking about, well, I don't, so I shouldn't even say it that way. When I used to think about a goal in mind, I want this to look like this, it always failed. Because with mixed media and abstraction, if you allow the work to guide you and you try to keep it going with that preconceived notion, you set yourself up for a fail.
Right.
you know, as you say, if you're painting a portrait, if you're maybe to some degree binding a book or making a quilt, you really do need to think. You have some direction. And I love the fact that you bring so many of the same sort of symbols to each of your different pieces. So they're very consistently yours, but because you don't have a roadmap, they all look differently, as much as they look similar, which is so cool. I am, I don't know what happened to Janine. She must be counting away. We're going to let Janine take her time. I'm going to ask you another question before we talk about supplies. You mentioned you love journaling. So I'm just really curious. You don't need to show journals or anything like that. Is the work that you do in your journal similar, different, both, like combo?
It could be both, in that maybe I want to try out a color combination. And, you know, what attracted me to journaling way early on was it literally is do what you want. Do whatever it is that you want to do. If you want to put down brown and green and yellow, congratulations, you just created an artwork. That's how the whole art journaling world felt to me. It was like no rules, just put things in and off you go. And so I love that it's so very non-threatening. There is, you just spill. And so a lot of times in an art journal piece, I will just kind of experiment with a new color that I found, or just like let an idea go. A lot of, I think, okay, I'm guilty as charged, but as much as I love paint and markers and crayons and pencils, I also love journals. It's bad. So I have so many of them that are just waiting. And right now, I probably have 5 or 6 going. One of them is a smaller, I'll pull it and I'll just show you what I'm talking about before knocking things over. This guy, I don't know if you guys can see.
Yes.
It's literally,
oh,
it's literally just gratitude. That's all it is. Just gratitude, right? And then I have another one, which is like a sketchbook situation. And that one's just like everything out, everything out. Every morning I come, let me see if I can, everything out of our heads, everything get out. So that's what this guy is, right? It's just a plain hardback sketchbook. I don't know about anybody else, and this is upside down, but my grocery list looks better in color. So I always start by just splashing color on it, and then it's a brain drain. That's what this guy is. And then
are you literally saying that when you write a grocery list, you add color?
you gotta.
Okay, so I have to ask everybody who's watching. I am really curious. That never occurred to me. Does anyone else do that? I'm really, really curious, even if there's one other. And if you don't, I think we all need to.
Yes, just splash some color on that to-do list, because then it's fun. Just throw color on it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Tracy says, I love the idea of a colored grocery list. It might make going to the grocery store a better experience.
Yes,
yeah.
see?
Oh, Karen does it.
See? Yes. You just, it just adds to like the something, you know, you just throw color on it.
Just add to the something.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. We're going to shift gears. We're going to come back to supplies, but we need you to, there's so many more people on than left names, but be that as it may, we have 24 people on the list. So you have to pick a number inclusive. That was quick.
7.
Is that 7?
Let's do it.
All right, Janine, count from number 1 and go to 7. And sometimes I just want to let other people know who are counting, hoping they won, that comments appear differently in different people's feeds. I've been through this before. I've been almost attacked because somebody didn't get something many times. So it's what Janine says. Everybody knows Janine has the last word always. Janine's number 7 is the winner of this art, the mystery art. So Janine, let us know.
And do we mind if Janine somehow lets that person get in touch with Seth and you will email me their information?
Sure, Janine. So you'll let me, it's Yvonne. Woohoo! And Yvonne happened to write at the exact same time, no attacks, please. That couldn't have been more perfect. There was some
Agreed.
karma
Agreed.
going on there. All right, so I will, Yvonne, I know you. I know how to get in touch with you. I will get
Sweet.
your information over to Ophelia and she'll get it on to
I'll
you.
get it out to you this week. I'm gonna let the
Congratulations.
varnish dry for a couple of days and then it will be out into the world to Yvonne.
Love it.
Yes.
So much fun. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. I just appreciate people knowing that it is the busy holiday season. Anyone out there that wants to spend time with me on a day where you could be doing all of the things, thank you all. And following me on all of the either YouTube or Instagram or on my website, I am a giver. It just makes my heart feel good. There will be other giveaways, so don't fret.
Love that.
Yes.
So once again, I'll remind everybody to support Ophelia and all really each other. And Ophelia, I can't even begin to tell you how happy I am because all these people who didn't win, I swear they are all congratulating Yvonne, like dozens.
You see,
It's just so sweet, which is just really wonderful. So please, please, please support, continue to support outside this and help Ophelia get more followers, more numbers, and help yourself because you're going to be treated to a dose of Ophelia every time you go to her place. And if you sign up for her newsletter, you don't even have to go to her place. She's going to go to you and show up at your door. And who would not open their door for this amazing person? Ophelia, do you ship to Australia your artwork if somebody purchases it?
I will try. I can figure out a way. That's a very good question. And I think I'm about to lie. I will try to figure out the cost.
Okay.
I do know shipping within the United States, I just keep it simple and it's a flat $6 to ship this little guy, shipping to Australia. Email.
I would suggest, so Wendy, get in touch with her through her website, but I would guess, just judging from my own experience, it would probably be about $31 US to ship that.
Thank you, Seth.
So take that as you will and maybe figure it out together.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna shift back to supplies. We're already an hour into this, and seriously, we could go for another 18
Feels like
hours.
it's been 10 minutes. Yes.
Exactly. But it's perfect because several people asked about some supplies. So I'm just going to read the comments
Okay.
so I don't forget. And then
Okay.
you can talk about that. The first one is, and don't answer it yet because I want to read them both. Curious what kind of varnish you use.
Absolutely.
And then the other, Maria asked, are you still doing demos at Jerry's?
Oh, okay. So demos at Jerry's will resume at the beginning of the year. So sometime in January. I am the resident demo artist for Jerry's Artorama retail store. And so every Sunday, it used to be 1 to 3, but I'll update it in my newsletter if things change. But I will be in store demoing something. Again, I'm that girl that literally loves playing with art supplies, looking at art supplies, collecting art supplies, being with art supplies. That's me. So yes, I will be back at Jerry's in the new year, playing at that demo station up front with the art supplies.
This is the Jerry's in what city?
In Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay.
On my YouTube channel, a lot of times it is me still playing with art supplies, either in a journal or in a sketchbook journal, playing again with art supplies. So if you can't maybe make a live demo, it's usually the same thing on my YouTube channel where I pick a supplier, a host of supplies. And what's great is it either works out wonderfully or it's like, oh man, we need to try that again. And so we do. And so you can catch it either there in store at Jerry's Artorama in Raleigh, or head over to my YouTube channel, and that kind of gives you a little snippet-ish maybe of what goes on at an actual demo. I groove on people's curiosities. If someone says, you know, I think I got into demoing at the Jerry's Artorama store. It's very close to where I live. And I would be in that store shopping, and I would hear someone, it's almost like the spidey senses, and somebody's like, I'm brand new to watercolor. Can you help me? And I'm like, where? And I'm like, Ophelia, mind your business. They're not talking to you. Mind your business. Mind your, hey, so tell me what you need. I don't work here, but I can totally help you. And on and on and on I go, because people that are curious about things, like, I'm just like, I am here for you. Let's just do it. And I get excited, overly excited, to help them find what they need to play with the stuff they want to play with.
I will let everybody know this enthusiasm that before we went on, Ophelia actually said to me, if I get too loud and excited, just let me know.
You see what I mean? Because
So,
I get excited. I literally.
This is the perfect level of excitement. So many comments, so many, I mean, people talking about that they love supplies, people talking about Jerry's Artorama, and that's where they first connected with you. Tracy mentions that she hopes they give you a big discount.
Oh, no.
And Debbie asked about doing Jerry's Lives, and that will start up in the new year. And Debbie, if you're not already signed up for the newsletter, that'll be the best way to find out the when and the times. So you can do that. And I can't let this pass. You said something that resonated with me. When you demo, sometimes it goes horribly wrong. I don't mind that at all, because that's exactly what happens when I create on my own. And when I teach, I don't mind that. I never feel like, oh no, I'm supposed to be the teacher, it's got to come out. I want to be authentic. This is what happens. This is guaranteed what's going to happen to every single person out there. They need to know it's okay. They need to know that doesn't have to shut them down, and they need to know they got to figure out a way to work through it. So when it happens in a live demo, it's not always, you kind of
It's human, though.
love it, but yeah, you embrace it.
Yeah. And it's one of those where then we all know, you know what? Kudos to you for trying. Kudos. However, they will make more paper tomorrow. They will make more paint tomorrow. All is not lost.
Right.
You now try again.
Probably all you need to do is swivel your chair and reach for that stack that you already own.
Absolutely.
Somebody asked, I promise I'm going to let you go to supplies, but there's a question that comes up. I just want to make sure I don't forget. And this is also a separate but a good question. Teaching in person, like not demos, but actual classes.
I do not have any in-person classes lined up for next year as of yet. I do have one online workshop where I teach you how to create abstract paintings.
What's that called?
It is called Fearlessly Creating Abstract Paintings Your Way. And it is on it's Tiffany with the Southern, oh my gosh, why can't I think of her name? It's on her
Southern
site.
Designs?
Yes, it's on her site. And so I teach
Tiffany
that.
Goff?
Yes,
yeah,
that's exactly her.
Goff.
Yep. Okay. Why did that leave my head? But it's on her site, on her, I'm one of her teaching artists. And so I have that workshop online. That has been it with teaching in person, because it just gets so busy. My daughter is a senior, she's a volleyball player, and we are on the go. And so I want to be able to give someone everything. And at this moment, I just feel like it would be too scattered. And so I've not booked any in-person workshops, but when things settle down, I'm certain that I'll have more of those because I do love teaching. I just do.
So
But
more reason to sign up for your newsletter so that people can find out.
excellent. But you can certainly go to Southern Gal Designs, and under her Learn tab, there is a link for my Fearlessly Creating Abstracts.
Well, I will tell you that the amazing Janine, the ever amazing Janine, took it upon herself to put the link in. And the wonder that this community is, Nicole Watson, thank you 1,000 times over.
Nicole.
She put the link in as well. And
Nicole, yes. How are we? You see, this is the art community, in all honesty, is the great. I'm sure everybody with their community like thinks that their community is the greatest. I'm a fountain pen lover, and the fountain pen community thinks that all the fountain pen community is fantastic. But all the art community, honestly, it just truly is an incredible community. I feel as, the more that we give of ourselves, the things in our heads, hey, this pencil or whatever, this tip, this is how you do this. It all comes back to us. That's what I just love. It's all the unloading of your brain to that person that's the beginner. My goodness, can you imagine if I, as a beginner, and you, Seth, said, I'm not going to tell you my stuff. You've just got to go figure it out, or buy the book or buy the class. It's like, what? All of us share.
I want to pray at the Church of Ophelia, because you are so speaking my language. I mean, I so believe there's more than enough to go around.
Yes.
And there is no reason not to share, and every reason to share. Yes.
It all comes back. It all
comes back. So true. So true. All right, now we're going to get to supplies. So that pen thing that you were showing.
Oh, Jerry's Jumbo Jet Black Pencil.
Jerry's, because you can't read it because it's actually used.
It's still paint covered. I know.
Jerry's Jumbo Black Pencil. So you get it from Jerry's Artorama.
Mm-hmm. And this guy is in all of my paintings, that dark black mark. That's this pencil. And it is you know how if you use a graphite pencil, it's got that graphite-y shine. This guy just gives me a rich black dark mark, and it's an oil impregnated charcoal.
Okay.
That just and it's just a rich black mark.
I love that. Okay, I have to get one of those for sure.
My favorite. Well, Seth, I've given away stuff to your watchers. Later, I'm going to give you one of these and send it to you in the mail, because it is, if you've known me, like, this is, I can't create. If you said to me, what's one thing that if I took away, you can't create? This right here. So it's the Jumbo Jet Black Pencil. I know someone else asked about my varnish, and I use Liquitex satin varnish over, like, completely over everything.
So it has a little bit of a soft sheen, like a very soft, low sheen. Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. But this is probably the most used supply. All of my paintings are acrylic paints.
Okay. Do you have a favorite acrylic brand?
Lucas. Oh, I just love Lucas paints. Oh, Lucas. Hold, please. Hold. I just.
Okay.
I'm listening.
Lucas is, I hate to admit this, not because I want people to think I know everything, but if anybody from Lucas is listening, I've never heard of Lucas.
No.
Never. Literally. Lukas. Okay.
Yes. And it is a German brand.
Okay.
And to show you, I think it's right here. Yep. I also use their watercolors.
Okay.
Ophelia throws everything.
You get these at Jerry's?
Yes. Okay. Yes. And yes. I have used these paints for as long as I can remember. And I'll tell you why. I purchased them for an art club. Literally, like, okay, for the price, I can let my 6th graders at that time, like, put the paint out there. And I realized, like, wait a minute, this really does, like, mixing that red and mixing that yellow really does make a nice vibrant orange. So I started buying it and using it for myself. And that was probably 8 years ago. And I
Is it,
still use it.
so inquiring minds want to know, is it kind of a matte finish, or is this
It's more of a matte-ish finish. And okay, so you do know like different paint manufacturers have like a different finish to it. Some of them
100%?
are matte, some of them are super shiny,
Yeah,
some of them are right there, which is why I use that satin varnish to bring
right, okay.
everything back to that satin.
It gives that consistent satin
Right,
sort of
right,
low sheen. Um,
absolutely.
I
But
mean, in all
Lucas are my
seriousness,
favorite.
I always
And
tell people when you try or have a favorite of a product, you should try other brands of that same product, because sometimes it's almost literally using a different product.
it sure
So
is.
like a matte acrylic paint, it's almost not the same thing as more of a glossy acrylic paint. They work
Right,
differently.
right.
So Lucas, okay, so bunches of people said never heard of it. Bunches of people says I've
Oh,
used it. Um, Also, lots of people love that pencil and mention that it also comes in different colors. And someone asked, is it similar to a Stabilo? So is it water soluble?
absolutely. It's not necessarily water soluble,
Okay,
whereas if I hit it with like wet paint, I can get it to smudge out. Like if I
okay,
scribbled this down black and like took my finger and mushed in some white paint, I'm gonna get a beautiful gray,
okay,
but it's not gonna like water it down like that black, like a Stabilo does.
okay,
This
right.
is just kind of a little bit. I will say, I use Lucas most often. However, we all know, like I will use Golden, I will use Amsterdam, I will use Senilier. I have all the things. Let's be honest. I am guilty. I find that I pick these up more often and I go through these more often because I don't know why. I love them for their price point.
Yeah,
Um, I
that's
love
great to know as well, that
yeah,
it's
the
affordable.
price is great. And there are times when like I won't start and finish an entire painting maybe with this, but maybe I will bring in Golden for certain special
Mhm.
like pops of
Right.
color, or it takes a whole village of paints to get it done. And but I do reach for those Lucas quite a bit. I just do.
Do you use uh in those type of pieces, do you use collage at all, or is it really paint and pencil mostly?
I do have some with collage. Man, I think I sold it. Um, my
That's
favorite thing
good.
to do, yeah, my favorite thing to do. Here we are. Those like tissue paper that you get to wrap a present with. I literally will spread out that whole sheet and I get myself black acrylic ink or black acrylic paint. And I like to make stripes or circles or any kind of pattern and then just rip it off
Mhm.
and then glue it into a painting, because then it just kind of gives that bold, like
Mhm.
boom pop that I just, why am I so animated? I don't know, but I just love
Don't
the
stop.
pop that it
Like
gives.
the in your
So
face pop.
yeah, I love to do that. And would, for instance, like glue it here in a space where you've got like this nice resting area, but then it's like a boom pattern almost. And I've created it completely by myself with just tissue paper. And you use matte medium to glue down your
Mhm.
tissue paper.
It's beautiful. Yeah, the tissue kind of disappears, but
Yeah,
color's still there. You might get a little texture. All good stuff.
yeah,
Plus,
yeah.
it's just fun to sit there and make those marks. And when you're doing it on tissue and not on directly on a painting, it's just so freeing. 'Cause it
There
doesn't
you
matter.
are.
I mean, if you make a mess, it's probably going to be better.
There you are. Not, I
Yeah.
had to learn, not everything that I am creating is for a sale or for a show, but a lot of times I need to create just for fun.
Mm,
And
mhm,
that's where my best work comes, is
mm.
just creating because I need to create.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
So
It's,
true.
yeah, if I'm
Totally relate to
creating
that.
for a piece, like I need to create a painting today to post on Instagram, we might as well close the door and set this place on fire. You know what I mean? But
Oh,
if I'm
I've been there.
Yeah, if I'm just creating because I need to create and I want to create, that's when my Instagrammable moments come up, you know?
I know. Believe you me, I know.
Yeah,
So question for you.
yeah.
I think just pop around in my head. Um, Squares. We all have our sort of
I
go-tos.
have
I love
no idea.
X's. I used to love circles. I'm kind of away from circles now. Um, Squares are big.
I have
Any
no idea.
any sense? No.
I have no idea. And even someone reached out to me on a Facebook comment or a message or something and said, "What's the significance of your squares?" And that moment, it's like narrator Ophelia wishes she had a great story, but she doesn't. It's just, all right. So we've got this just blank, and I want you to pretend with me for a second. But as I'm painting and I get the background all done, I kind of do one of these, and there's my mark. And then I kind of fill in those spaces, and that's like the squares just, there's no, you know
Ah,
what I mean? There's no reason.
mind blowing.
Yeah. So I
In
might
my
paint a square here
right.
and maybe one right here and definitely one up there.
So your process is to make the mark, and from the mark leads you to the shape, as opposed to, and this is equally viable, but just not your process, you draw the square, and then you make your mark after.
It
That
just
is
depends. Yep, it totally
fascinating to
depends.
me.
It's just the thing is, it just happens as it happens.
Yes. So I got to ask you a question, which I think could potentially help a lot of people. So many people are hesitant to make marks, especially when they've already, say, created a background that they love, because that fear of ruining something, which of course so many people have, but it's so good to work through.
Mhm.
How do you just let loose with that mark?
Okay.
Can you give any
Excellent,
direction, any
excellent.
advice?
I am a fast painter. Like I get in, I just paint. One being I wake up at about 3:30 and I have until about 6 o'clock to paint.
It's
In that time,
3:30 a.m.
AM, right? In that time, I do my morning journaling. I have my coffee. I putz around. I pick things up. By the time I actually get to a canvas, it might be 5 o'clock. So I,
a.m.
yes, AM.
We're all sleeping, you know that.
I get up. My favorite time of the day is when the entire world is asleep.
Ah,
And
okay.
so I paint very fast so that I won't allow the things to get in my
Thinking.
head. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Miss
Yes.
Potter doesn't stand a chance because my brush is going like that. And I just quickly move and I quickly throw things down. Sometimes it works beautifully, and sometimes it's like, oh, here's the great part with all of this: dry, and we get to paint this junk over. Do you know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
like I'm not going to blow up the world if I make a mark that nobody likes. And so and there are times when I look at my painting and I'm like, oh man, I went too far on that one. Just put acrylic paint right over it.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like you get to create the rules, or as I tell my students, if you do it and you don't like it, but you pretend confidently that that was a part of your design.
Mm.
Boom.
To fake it till you make it.
Literally,
I
that's
think
all it is.
when a person comes to the accurate realization that it doesn't matter if it doesn't work, because you can always just keep going, which is why I say you're always one layer away from magic. That is so freeing because it allows you to experiment. It allows you to just let go without the worry. Because once that worry gets in your head, as you said in another context, you might as well just give it up.
Close the door.
What I always say is you might as well go get a cookie and stop painting.
Literally, that's it.
Right.
That's a lot more less disastrous than what I usually think. Like I think I'm going to set this place on fire.
Oh, yeah.
But it's literally, you're right. Go get a cookie, take the day, go get another coffee, come back tomorrow, fresh eyes, start over. but
Yes.
you just do it. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, gesso is our friend.
Gesso is our friend.
Let it dry, paint it over with gesso, and start again.
Gesso is our friend is the title for chapter 7 in your book.
Yes. I hope you're keeping up with this, because I'm going to write a book and you're helping.
I'm keeping up with it because I can go back and watch. Otherwise, half of these things, unfortunately, my head doesn't keep them as they used to.
Same.
But Facebook does.
Same.
Janine, if you could pop in. Oh, okay. So Rennie, if you just go back a couple comments, you'll see the link to the Instagram. But it's Ophelia's name, Ophelia Staton. But it's in here, and I'll put it in the description of the video when I put it up. Now, I hate to say this. We have about 5 more minutes.
Absolutely.
And that makes 90 minutes. And everybody, by the way, is saying they buy your book. So
soon.
I am. Oh yeah, Beverly says she'll buy your book as long as chapter 1 isn't get up at 3 a.m.
No rules. No
rules.
Your get up. See, I go to bed at like 8:30. Some people are night owls.
Okay.
And like I'm going, wait, what do you mean you're up at 10:30 p.m.? What?
Right, yeah.
I am out by then.
You're living your life the way you need to, the way you want to, and it's a lesson for all of us that's what we need. There's no right or wrong. It's just what works for you.
Absolutely.
And allowing yourself within the limits of what you can to make yourself the priority to be able to do that. And
absolutely.
You this is such a life lesson that you make it important. You recognize the importance for you of getting up at 3:30 and doing your journaling and doing your painting, because that you work so well when the rest of the world is quiet, and that you won't have that opportunity once everything starts.
Right.
But you are the example that, and it's so good to have an example of somebody who can make it work, can just make it happen. I mean, that's just amazing because.
Yep. One thing that I've learned a long time ago, and I am the guiltiest of those, you can either make a way or make an excuse. And I was that one who was, I'm too busy. My kids are too small. And it's like, for Pete's sake, it's just putting paint in a journal or putting a stamp to a book. It's okay. You can make a way for yourself to have this time or make an excuse. And so I just started getting up.
You got to type that one in, Janine, you can make a way or you can make an excuse.
That's chapter 8.
But it just so say true. That literally the same time you said that, Tracy Hickman wrote a comment, chapter 8. This is done.
This book coming. I feel this book coming.
I think this book is coming out tonight.
Absolutely. But, and it's so true. I could sit there and wallow in my frustration of never having time to do all the cool journaling and stuff that Seth does, or I can just get up 30 minutes early
and do it.
Because at the end of the day, when my bell rings at 3:30, I'm like this, like I don't know my name. I look like I just can't. So that golden hour for me is in the mornings.
Right. Yep. Someone else said that they work at 3:30 in the morning, but it's because they're still up from the night before. Debbie, you can get on the newsletter by going to
OpheliaStaton.com
website. Yep. And just signing up there. So I'm going to ask all of you beautiful people out there watching live, this is the time where you've said so many wonderful things. This is the time where you leave your comments about how incredible Ophelia is, which you've already done, so I can read them to her. So if she's ever in the moment where her crayons go away, she can come back to this interview and just look at that loop of love.
Loop of love. I love it.
And feel good. And Ophelia, as I'm beginning to collect these, and I'll start before I start reading, if there anything else you want to either say in promotion or anything else, please do.
May I just say to all of you, do the thing that brings your soul joy. The end. That's the end of the book. Boom. We're done. That's it for me. Just do the
Period,
thing
end of
that brings you
story.
joy. Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna end with me reading some comments like it's story time at school. Okay, so everybody sit down, get comfy, cross your legs. Okay, here we go. Thanks for a wonderful conversation, Ophelia and Seth. Thanks, you are amazing. I bought one of your collage packs on Etsy a couple years ago, loved it.
Oh,
Keep calm and crayon on.
yes.
What a
Right.
fabulous, yeah, that's a good one. What a fabulous, wonderful start to my week. Thank you. She is lovely and such an inspiration. So inspirational. Do the thing that brings your soul joy. Janine, letting everybody know what you said. Cindy mentions t-shirts. We want t-shirts, but I think she was mentioning that to me, and maybe we could collaborate on some phrases.
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah, because that would be a good phrase, but it's your phrase, so I'm not going to take it. I'll use it and give you credit, but not on a t-shirt. Another one of your great interviews. Thanks. Thank you for such a joyous conversation. Loving Ophelia. I will watch as soon as this ends and posts. I noticed Pam came late, so she missed the beginning. So hate I missed her for them the beginning. I will buy the book. Preach, Ophelia, because your heart and words are life-giving. Love it. Awesome inspiration. Seth and Ophelia, freaking legends. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. I now may start using my supplies again. Pure joy. Ophelia, you have such a lovely soul and sparkle about you. You are such a spark of inspiration. I've always enjoyed your demos on Jerry's. What always stood out for me is fearless and joyful. I needed this conversation. There's so many. I needed this conversation so much today. I'm uplifted. I got you covered for t-shirts. Delita, I'm going to talk to you. Karen, I'm so glad I caught this. T-shirts should read, use, I love the t-shirt conversation. Use all the crayons. I love your energy. I'll be checking out your YouTube channel. Thousands of hearts. Janine, I see Janine at home trying to count them. She's actually doing this, but I know she lost count. I love your energy. I'll be checking out your, I read that one, your YouTube channel. Lots of love, and I understand it. You have been a joy to talk to. You are somebody who I could spend days with and feel like we've just scratched the surface of what you are able to share and give. I honestly, I feel like this has been a jolt of joyous energy. Like I truly feel uplifted, as someone said, like pumped. We need you to have an app. This is not a comment. This is coming from me. We need you to start an app, to create an app that's like 5-minute. This is what you listen. You listen to Ophelia for 5 minutes before you start your art, your art. So you can get going. Janine said, I've run out of fingers. She can't count the hearts anymore. And I don't know if the hearts show up. I don't think they show up when you watch on like the recording.
I see what you
mean. I will tell you, they are flooding. The comments are still coming.
Great.
And they want your app and your book.
And the t-shirt. We're on this.
And the t-shirt. And Wendy says, thank you to Janine. Janine, you are the best.
Janine, thank you.
Yeah, you so appreciate it. So I could like, the comments are still coming in. I'm just going to wind down, try my best to keep on track, which is not always easy for me. And say thank you a million times for doing this and taking the time out. And I hope some new people have discovered you, and you were so generous for the giveaway. I'll connect you with Yvonne. And again, thank you for taking your time. And I look forward to all the connection that we continue to have.
You bet.
And thank you for the light you just put out into the world.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Because remember, I've been fangirling over you since way, way back. So thank you for being the one that brought all of us together today. It's because of you. So thank you, Seth, very, very much.
My pleasure. I'm fortunate and privileged to be able to do that.
I
All right,
appreciate
so
it.
everybody, thank you so much for watching. You know how to connect with Ophelia. If you don't remember the link, just you know her name. The links will be there, but if you know her name, you got her website and you can go from there. And everybody just have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon, evening, or morning, depending upon where you are. And those of you who wake up tomorrow at 3:30 a.m. to create, make sure you
Cheers.
message Ophelia and let her know. And I guess coffee is the trick. All right. Thank you
Have a
all
great
so
one.
much.
Thank you very, very much for having me.
It's a pleasure.
You
Bye
bet.
now.
Bye-bye.